So we're gonna start it off right here. Let me know how the visual and audio is. Now is the vibrate. Y'all know what it is. Not too far in the future, not too far in the past. Right now. Matter of fact, testing out this microphone. What better way to test out the mic? What better way to test out the mic than to talk about the arcs, the archetypes, like Archangel Mike. So we're gonna talk a little bit about the moon, talk a little bit about vampires as y'all see the screen. This is from the book Dragon Legacy: The Secret History of an Ancient Bloodline. And always when I read this book, I could tell that again, there are, with reading anything, you got to be aware of whoever wrote it. There are certain biases, and like they may be kind of writing it because they got something to prove, or, whatever the case may be. Being aware of that context whenever you're dealing with any information you get from anybody, myself included, you know, because even as I said, the tone was saying that doing this video, it was a certain point, and hold on, because I got it down. There was a certain point where, again, like where I had that tough experience of facing self and understanding, like, all right, this Jehudi aspect of self, Jehudi, Anubis, all this different aspects of Toth basically, you know, is within, Yadala brought energy, you know, like all of these energies exist within. And, of course, man, it becomes tough sometimes, like dealing with the whole, hey, I'm interconnected to everything. And then also keeping up with the politics, so to speak. I really, straight up, politics, as I brought up the body polis before in a video, and the politicking of the body, because basically, you know, like say for instance, the cells vote for what you end up eating. And if the percentage of the cells mostly in your body are the cells that love vegetables, you know, then that's who win the vote. That's who win the body polis. You know what I'm saying? Like the polls are in. We go and get a veggie sandwich. Hey body. We go and get a veggie sandwich. But again, with this book and with any story, it's just being aware of, the context of how it's being presented, and in the context of how the person's delivering it. Again, I don't want nobody who like to drink Pepsi to give me their opinion about Coca-Cola. Yo, nobody who drink Pepsi all the time to be like, hey, tell me about how, what you think about Coca-Cola. Oh man, it's crap. And then without going to test it myself, I go tell my children, hey, this man told me Coca-Cola is crap. This and that. And then, oh, my daddy said Coca-Cola is crap, so we only drink Pepsi. And then they pass that on to their children, all because they father asked a Pepsi drinker. The father asked a Pepsi drinker for his, like asking a Pepsi drinker his opinion on what's, if Coca-Cola, tastes good and, got that feedback and then pass that down without fact checking to drink the Coca-Cola for himself and drink the Pepsi for himself, like drink both of them and see which one is best. You just ask a Pepsi drinker if he should drink Coca-Cola, and the Pepsi drinker like, nah, man, you should drink Pepsi. You know what I'm saying? So, and you get a lot of that in, historical stories, mythology, stuff like that. It's like the winner of the war, ends up telling the story, things of this nature. And as I share, I'm gonna do my best to, you know, be straightforward without a fear mongering temperament. You feel me? Be straightforward without trying to point and say anybody's the quote unquote, you know, good or bad guy, you know. But again, like just to simply understand the full and whole story. Like there's some of us that just want to know the unbiased truth so we could, you know, feel like we make our own decision. Shout out to Bridge of Ra for mentioning that in one of the videos where it's like dark magic basically is somebody asking you to make a choice without giving you all the details. Like go to church. I ain't giving you all the details. Your grandmother went to church. We going to church. That's all I'm telling you. We going to church. And that's not to knock traditions and stuff like that. It's just like, again, because it'd be very important to check down on these types of things. And I'm the type of being also that's like, if something resembles church, like in the sense of like this hush, hush, wink, wink, subtle, don't question anything energy, like any type of like anything that carries that energy, like it's like I got like an internal, like a thing that just kind of like just doesn't like to be in a system that doesn't allow for me to question it. Like that's just something, again, it might be, and I don't know, just rebel out of cause without a cause, like let me just be against it just to be against it. And I do have a little bit of that energy in me, you feel me? But it's like I gotta be able to question things. I mean, anything other than that is a cult. It's like only read the Bible, but don't read nothing but the Bible. Only drink this Kool-Aid, or whatever the case may be. You feel me? But I question, I check down on things, and that also means like when I go to the graduate to the, to the next degree and the next degree or the next level, I still question that the next system the same way. So soon as I find out about Orishas and and voodoo and stuff like that, I get into it. And now again, I share with y'all, like, I hopped into it somewhat like church because off of the strength that, it's like, well, hey, my family melanated. This guy talking about, you know, like all of my roots and stuff, like I'm just, it's the popular thing. Like all the melanated people are listening to Bobby Hemmett. Like, it's kind of like like a in thing to do. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that it's promoted on that level, but what I am saying, like just me and my experience and how I perceive things and just been, studying myself and just, looking at myself throughout the years and like the decisions I make are like, stuff like that. But it was like, all right, that's the vibe, But again, as I get into that, I'm gonna I'm gonna bring forth some of the same questions, you know what I'm saying? Like again, don't tell me God is inside of me, but then I gotta put this statue of Oshun outside, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you know, I gotta put out 3 pennies every time I cross a crosswalk for Legba, like and again, as I'm saying these things. It's not knocking it and be honest with you. Again, like it's, again, it's a form of magical technology, these different types of things to some extent, through collective agreement, because if a bunch of us throughout different lifetimes agree that, hey, when you put 3 pennies out right here, this happens, and that, that energy is kind of like within the realm, So, when you come back, that's kind of like there for you, like a tool just sitting there waiting for you to tap into in essence, you know. But again, like I get to that next level, I'm a still question. I'm a still, like, all right, then why you got to do this? But again, I feel tested, I question, research, and then also do my own field studies. And now with that being said, also what kind of like, changed the game for me was also having a psychedelic experience because that kind of just it takes away like the middlemen of authors and book writers and lectures and stuff like that, and just kind of bring you right, you know, face to face with yourself. You feel me? you know, uh, in a very raw and intense type of level. You know what I'm saying? Like again, man, yeah, you experiencing in most cases, with psychedelics, they're all a little different in the temperament of what they're in essence bringing up and showing you and how they, like some kind of have more of a feminine energy, some more of a masculine, some tapping into more of your shadow aspects, some is more about, a little lighthearted, like different psychedelics have different energies. But again, and you see this across the board and throughout, like throughout the years, like, most people who have taken psychedelics, they're not so extreme on the whole being black thing because again, like you had experience that allowed for you to know for sure that you're more than just a black person. Now that doesn't mean to again go on the extreme. I mean, it's not going to extreme to acknowledge like, hey, I'm more than just a human. We all do that when we become spiritual aware, but it's like I'm more than just this bodysuit. And matter of fact, like I forgot what I was about to tie that into. Uh oh, with the psychedelics again, and you becoming aware that you're more than just, you know, the avatar that you're, you know what I'm saying, that you're expressing yourself through. But yeah, we just walking through it. We about to get into it. But yeah, I felt like I should just share that, you know what I'm saying, before tapping in, because, right now for me, it's important to take care of certain responsibilities. Matter of fact, not to say, it's not because it's a sky thing, but just the energy of Saturn and Pisces, you know what I'm saying? Uh kind of have us checking down and being responsible about our spiritual energy and our subconscious energy in essence. You feel me? So, checking down on those areas, a little strongly, but yeah, just, want to make sure that everything is, again, as far as like me being responsible, like fully explaining things as much as possible so it don't be like no confusion, because again, throughout my journey, y'all done seen me with, like wearing the Papa Legba hat and tapping into the Papa Legba energy, and again, like I'm doing it, getting into it. And then it's like, all right, wait, hold on. This situation popped off as if I'm dealing with an egregor, and not so much just the pure essence of source energy. But again, like I started to understand, like, all right, this is part of the archon energy. Again, this energy is within me as well, you know. So becoming aware of that though, it was like, all right, dang, it's like I hop right into the whole, Legba thing. And again, like, of course, telling myself and with the intention of like, hey, this is inside of me, you know. And this is another thing too, like I come from a background where I wasn't told anything about any of this. And then at the same time, when I do have a strong like awakening, I felt guided to start a YouTube channel and talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, and having to go with it, I feel like in essence, with anything, we are powerful as beacons and examples. And I feel like one could see how you could be, tapped into the Legba energy or, this external thing and then pivot or shift your energy. Cause again, like you're still showing love to these archetypes by showing love to certain things in nature, and even when you think about Qigong, or Tao exercises with the inner smile to the organs are the archons, you know, when you smile into your liver, you smile into one of those deities in a mythological story. When you smiling to your heart, you smile into Venus, uh, Freya, Freda, Urzuli. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so it's like, all right, well then, if it's my heart, or if this is all numbers, then why are we doing the whole, you know, external thing, you know, like where is the whole external thing coming from? And it's like again bringing that energy, into it of like questioning things even on the next level. It's like, well, if this is the, and in essence you see like again like the where in certain cases it's more so like personality worship. And again, I don't went into this in depth, you know, because if let's just say, all right, if Legba is the god of all things, or if Oshun was the god of all things, or if Odin was the god of all things, it's the god of all things, then it wouldn't need me to name it, call it just Odin, or call it just Loki, or call it just, you know, Saturn, or call it just, you know what I'm saying? So, that's how that kind of, switched up in that sense. And again, I feel like a part of me sharing, early in my growth without, no deep background in it. Like again, y'all know my stories of like me talking about like, yeah, I could subtly feel certain things energetically, like feeling energies before walking into the room and kind of having in certain ways clear cognizance, like again, like understanding how certain things operate by just getting like one little like out of the blue, just like a paragraph of how these things operate. But again, like I had little subtle vibes, but again, nobody like I didn't grow up learning about like, hey, this is how you take care of your aura, and you have these chakras and energy moves like this, and what I'm saying, and astrology really is this, and like I wasn't taught, no background on that, now, of course, like we know what's up as far as like, as beings that doesn't, like it's not me. Hey, pull out the violin, what I'm saying? He has no background, it's not that energy. Again, just sharing the story. But ultimately, again, like the beings that, that we are and that some of us are, like as we're activating, it goes beyond certain things that we were taught or told, you know. So in essence, like say for instance, you may have never had a PhD or went to school for a PhD, but then when you kind of have like a little spiritual activation, now you kind of like just aware of certain things as if you were there or got a PhD in it, or you know what I'm saying? So, you know, the abilities could exceed the norm, but in essence, again, or should I say, regardless of your upbringing, your circumstance and your upbringing that you chose as a soul anyway, you could still, move forward or beyond whatever, what I'm saying, things attached to that. But let's get into talking about the moonsters, the moonsters, and I feel like for the most part, this most likely, I say most likely, in essence, coming up for us, like as a collective, to heal a lot of our little war wounds and things of this nature, in connection though with the moon first appearing in, you know, in the atmosphere in Earth, you know. For me, again, you watching Star Wars and stuff like, and you getting some of the picture, like, oh yeah, but it's like as you keep studying, it's like, dang, like now I get the picture. Like now you start to kind of get like why certain characters depicted a certain way and what's being shown in certain movies and things of this nature. Or even when you reread some books, certain esoteric occult books, it kind of hit a little different because you didn't gain like a new perspective, about something, you know. And again, with the spirituality, knowing about the spirits, you know, but why would a reflection be considered a foundation? Why would a reflection be considered a foundation? Now, matter of fact, let me see. Uh, right quick. Oh wait, press the wrong thing. Yep, I did. Yes, side. And I'm bringing this up because we're getting to again, the moon, and some of the different things that's affiliated with the moon. Because it's like if the moon wasn't always on Earth, then right automatically that means like, well, shit, almost all kind of gods and goddesses, wouldn't exist in those times that the moon didn't exist. Either that or they were assigned or connected to another planetary body or something like that. But for the most part, you know, there's multiple different accounts of, there not having a moon in the sky, at some point, and it's also, I feel, again, in turn, it's not coming from a book, that this may be connected to the Temple of Dendera, zodiac wheel, the little zodiac wheel, and the Temple of Dendera in Kemet or Egypt, and them showing the importance to the Cancer zodiac. The Cancer zodiac is ruled by the moon. And think about that, like when the Earth, when the Earth didn't have a moon, then technically Cancer zodiac sign couldn't even exist. You feel me? Like how could, and to some extent that tell ends and goes back to also affecting the sun, because like, it's like, all right, the sun, you know, uh, needing that reflection in essence. But then when I really think about it, like, does it really, because I mean, think about the nights with the new moon, like if the moon is dark, are we really benefiting from that satellite at night? Like, does the sun really need the moon as its, you know, uh cooperator in this orbit? And it's also kind of getting to the three body, what they call it, the three body problem. I think that's what it's called. Thought I had it right here on my notes. Yeah, the three body problem. And they also did a little series on Netflix on it. And I came across it a while back. And then again, I saw Seven that posted a video about something with the three body, and I'm like, all right, let me check out just kind of look into the three body problem, and then also look into the show. But again, let me tiptoe back a little bit. Why would a reflection be considered a foundation unless it was a foundation for a house of mirrors? Because I didn't finish that statement. Why would a reflection, that's what the moon is considered, a reflection in a satellite? Why would a satellite, why would the Death Star, why would an artificial, you know, body in the sky, how could that be a foundation? Like, now I'm not making fun. Like, this is just real talk. Like, or just to ask the question, like, all right, what am I building if my foundation is a satellite or a reflection instead of the actual source, you know? Because a reflection mean it's bouncing off, something from something else. You know what I'm saying? So, like, like why would I make something that's not the source of the energy a foundation for a world unless it was a foundation for a world of mirrors or a house of mirrors. You feel me? And just to bring up the visuals, because we're right here. Let's see. Give me a sec. Because again, the moon, again, you take away, like, oh man, you just hating on the moon energy, you know? I done talked about the sun, like, I done went in on the sun like this. Y'all remember the videos I used to do about like the whole like solar plexus worship, like, like as above, so below, like when it was sun worship on the earth, that's similar to the cells in the body worshiping the solar plexus. Like I done talked about that, so it ain't again like it ain't no uh picks and chooses. It's simply for the understanding about it. But let's see. I just need the actual. If I don't find it quickly, I'm gonna just switch it up because I do want to keep the energy flowing on this since we got it moving. And so, like this right quick. See if one of them got a better view. All right, that's too small. All right. Yeah, we're gonna bring the energy back in right here. But basically, you know, y'all know me. I like to improvise a little bit like that. But you'll see on the tree of life, and you know what? I'm gonna keep looking for it here because I know I got a picture somewhere without having to, you know, and that's the only window I gotta. Well, just gonna keep it moving. I'll come back to it. But your side on the tree of life, that Sephiroth on the tree of life, or the tree of knowledge, the tree of good and evil. That Sephiroth is connected with the moon because each Sephiroth is connected with a certain planet. And another connection that's like more proof with the whole, like, archons associated with the zodiac signs and astrology. You look at the top of the tree of life, where you got the Kether, the first Sephiroth, which is primum mobile. And then you go to Chakma, which is the zodiac. So the first two, or at least more so looking at the second one, second Sephiroth Chakma, represented by the zodiac. So the zodiac is at the top. you know, and then where it really hit and make it, like, all right, really makes sense is the third Sephiroth is Saturn, you know, and with the third Sephiroth being Saturn, again, when we talk about the zodiac, the archetype are like also like a firmament, like, and Saturn represents boundaries, like a firmament is a boundary, your skin is a boundary. And like I was talking a little bit earlier about, again, different ways to, still, in essence, again, like it's not me against the archons, and again, I done went through that stage of like, like, oh wait, hold on, you know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, like it's interconnected, it's understanding like, my relationship internally and externally with this archetype, you feel me? But Saturn, Saturn is the boundaries again, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, uh, six protons, six neutrons, six electrons, aka carbon, aka melanin, aka that's what's in your skin, aka your skin is the biggest archon or organ on your body, you know what I'm saying? And it holds everything in, you know what I'm saying? Like this, it'll be, internal organs everywhere of the skin, just disappear. You feel me? But, just showing again with the tree of life on that level. So, and y'all know I did the videos about the moon being connected to reincarnation along with Saturn, the Saturn moon matrix. We done talked about this, and also the connection with Mars. And again, like on a deeper level, understanding that basically in so many ways, to some extent, like Toth represents all the different, archons, you know, all the different planets, hence the whole shape shifting thing. But with the missing moon again was something that was first seen in ARCadEA. Now, ARCadEA is a area that's somewhere around Greece. And these people that basically lived before the moon, were called the Pro-Selenians, pro in essence, like before, you know, but Selenians, and Selene, like selenite or Selene, think a goddess Selene, but it's like connected to the moon. And Arcadia, when you hear that word, first thing, arc, and then Arcadia, it also kind of sound like arcade, you know, and that just ties more into the notions with the simulation and stuff like that, and we're gonna go show the etymology of that. But basically, that's the first thing to take care of is looking at the etymology, of certain things. And you look at the etymology of Arcadia, it's latinized from its latinized form of Greek Arcadia, which is traditionally from Arcus, and Arcus, the son of Zeus, name of the founder and first ruler of Arcadia. It takes its name from the mythological character Arcus. Again, Arcadia takes its name from the mythological character Arcus. And also in Greek mythology, Arcus is the home of Hermes and Pan. Hermes is again, Jehudi, Toth, you know, and again, Jehudi also goes into Jehudi, in the line of David, what I'm saying, connected to, King Solomon as well. And so Arcus was basically the home of Hermanubis and Pan, like Peter Pan, you know, because the Pan energy also represents, again, like that's that fairy, never, never land, never growing up, fifth house, I'm gonna watch cartoons forever. And, and again, that we those of us who like in which most of us upon our journey realize like that's a part of the growth is like to like take care of our inner child and do some of those nostalgic things in some way, form, or fashion, in essence healing that, allowing that pan archetype or that that child within, what I'm saying, to have fun or have some type of, satisfaction in essence. So next, Arcadian, by definition, it could mean ideally rustic or rural. And you see some of this. So hold on, let me take it off. Can I stop the share but still keep the video going? So I think it stopped the share, but we still recording. And so let's see. All right, yeah, let me do this right quick. I appreciate y'all patience because I know sometimes I'll be moving a little slower. Still moving. Let's see. All right. Stating definition. And what we're about to do is just again like start going into the etymology of arc. Oh, wait, 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 wait. In the middle of this video, I might be able to solve this. Copy. All right. ARCadEA. So let's see. All right. So we're gonna go to this next part. All right, we still in the building. Screen share. Back up again. Screen share like that. Yeah. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right, y'all should be seeing this page that has the etymology of arcade on it. And let's see. So now for one, let's see, Arcadian. Arcadian meaning relating to or constituting an ideal rural paradise. So like a rural paradise, rural like somewhere ducked off in the boonies, like somewhere in an area where it's not, too populated. And again, it's related to Arcadia in Greece. Basically, also it could be seen as a country dweller. Right. But ideally rustic or rural as a noun or an idealized rustic. Now, this in the 1580s, this from Greek Arcadia, a mountainous district landlocked in the Peloponnesus. That's like some type of a mountain range or something like that. A mountainous district landlocked in Peloponnesus, regarded by the ancient Greeks as rude, impoverished, and inhospitable, you know. So that was also a definition of Arcadian, you know. And let's see if it's in here. Because I wrote this down, but I know how it helps to have it on the screen too. So yeah, here we go. Ideally rustic or rural. And then again, Arcadia, a mountainous district landlocked in the Peloponnesus, regarded by the ancient Greeks as rude, impoverished, and inhospitable. When it said landlocked in between some mountains, I thought of like how what just came to mind. I'm not saying this, but just tying in as we're speaking with the whole Arctic wall or like the Antarctica wall, like there's some ice wall, around us or something of that nature that kind of came to mind as well. But all right. But you see, Arcadian, that etymology and that definition. And then arcade. Now, arcade, by definition, what's funny is when I thought of arcade and I was like about to look up arcade, I'm thinking I'm about to see like, hey, the place where you play games at, you know? Let's see definition. And it's like, no, it's a covered passageway. And wait, can y'all see? Let's see. I hope my picture is not in the way of this. And let me do something right quick, guys. Make sure y'all not. Yeah, let me do it like this for right now. All right, yeah, that's better. That's better. So you see, and let me put it down right. Yeah. All right, now we good. A covered passageway with arcs along one or both sides. And then arcade is short for video arcade. And I just thought of that like, oh shit. So, if an arcade is a covered passageway with arcs along one or both sides, then a video arcade would probably be uh, a covered passageway covered with videos, you know what I'm saying? With videos all over the place or all on both sides, when you walk into an arcade, is like videos just like all over the place. You know, and matter of fact, looking at arcade etymology, it goes to Arcus. And Arcus, see, Arcus stands for bow. Let's get that in. Let's see. Oh wait, it don't show because it is like a etymology meaning. So let's see. Let's go back right here. Well, all right, you see it right here. Arcade, vaulted space, which probably is from Italian arcata, arch of a bridge, you know. Think about the Rainbow Bridge. And again, also from Latin arcus, which is a bow or arc. Now, the next part, when you think of a bow, you think of think of Sagittarius, also Orion, because Orion is considered to be wait, is our club, but with the arc or the bow, I think of Sagittarius. And Sagittarius, no coincidence. So again, we go from looking at the definition, we go from ARCadEA, so we can make sure we following, you know, the the people known for, one of the cultures or peoples known for being aware or speaking on when the moon wasn't in the sky was the Arcadians or the people of Arcadia, but they was also known as the Pro-Selenians. And again, I know there are other accounts as well, like I'm just sharing from the one that came to me, and this is how things come to me, and I'm not over explaining myself. So we from there again, Arcadia, and now we get into the etymology and showing how it correlates to, basically the city of Arcadia. No coincidence that the people who were aware of there not being a moon were in a city or a country named Arcadia, and happens to have, again, like things related to a arc or archons in its definition or etymology. And so, again, we go from Arcadia to Arcadian to arcade, covered passway. And then again, you think about the word, architecture, you building, you know, building that house, building that structure. So again, arcade. So we walk through this. I think it was right here too. So again, arcade etymology roots goes back to Latin arcus, meaning bow. So no matter what somebody tell you, you just go look at the etymology and the words going, you know what I'm saying, speak for themselves. And especially when you also look into the gematria of things and like the numerical representations. But Arcus represents both. And again, Sagittarius, known for having the bow, the half horse, half man, centaur, or half woman, half horse, however you want to say it. Centaur, with the bow and arrow, and no coincidence that Sagittarius is ruled by the arc or archon of Jupiter, or Zeus, but ruled by Jupiter and the expansion and learning energy, you know. So say for instance, Arcus, meaning bow. So a arc or a bow, and there's like a bow and arrow, and Sagittarius carries a bow and arrow, and no coincidence that Sagittarius represents understanding and being able to wield the power of the arc, you know, in the symbology of it, because so if a bow, again in the etymology, represents an arc, like if I had, like, say for instance, like on some vision board subconscious magic type of things, I would take a picture of myself, holding a bow and arrow, you know, and holding it properly, you know what I'm saying? And by looking at that, you're seeing like just the symbology of that, what I'm saying, of you holding that bow represents you holding the arc. You feel me? Like you just, you know, whether you know it or not, in essence, kind of like with us wearing rings and stuff, and the connection with, the 360 degrees of knowledge, which goes into again knowing the arc or the zodiac wheel. You feel me? But again, Sagittarius represents understanding and being able to wield the power of the arc or the bow, and in essence, like attaining the ring of Solomon, you know, because like the Sagittarius through the traveling, and the Jupiterian expansion, traveling, higher learning, you know, gaining new philosophical perspectives, and you know what I'm saying, like learning, wielding the bow, eventually, you travel the whole wheel. And no coincidence that Sagittarius is the ninth on a numerical level. Sagittarius is the ninth zodiac sign. And on a numerical level, technically, it's the last zodiac sign from a numerical level. Because again, when you get to 10, that's back at one. Like that's not a new numerical value, past nine. Like it's 1 through 9. And that's a wrap. When you get to 10, it's back to one. When you get to 11, that's one plus one, that's two. You know what I'm saying? So uh Sagittarius could represent, again, wielding that bow, wielding that understanding, that expansion, learning, higher learning about, you know, the arc, wielding that arc power, wielding the power of the ring. You feel me? And it also made me think of like when you think of like wielding the power of the zodiac signs, or or the ring or the bow, just to also show it again another correlation. And I use, again, I like to I'm using anime and stuff like that, for one, because that's one of the things that I like to vibe with, as a form of balancing entertainment with still learning. You feel me? And still getting like the esoteric juices flowing. But of course, again, like the mythological stories come first and foremost, but also as well, and I say, but and on top of that, secondly, you know, more so though, like anime or again like comic books, because they'll tap into like, deeper esoteric topics without too much of the tainted politics, that goes into it, at that goes into publishing it, on a mass level to the masses and stuff like that. But anyway, and let me pull up the character Lucy from Fairy Tales. And no coincidence, Fairy Tales, we're about to take it dust shortly, you know what I'm saying? So again, so matter of fact, the character on the anime Fairy Tales, her name Lucy. Lucy, like, Lucy, Lucifer, the light getting illuminated, wielding the bow, Sagittarius, illuminated, learning, you know, got the ring of Solomon. And the character Lucy on the anime, she basically wields the powers of the zodiac archetypes, and let's see, Lucy, fairy tales. I had to spell it wrong. Let's see. Lucy Zodiac. It'll still pop up. Zodiac keys. But she pull them out as like little keys and they're called like celestial spirits. Let's see if they just got some images that'll pop up. But yeah, this is her right here with her different keys. And let's see. It's just, different ones. I think this Taurus, so him over here with the scissors, that's Cancer. The maid back here, she Virgo. I want to say she's Aquarius, but you get the picture. I ain't trying to go deep because that's not the point. But again, and you also see the even in this, they showing this fairy connection. Now, also was connected with the moon. Again, bringing it back to this little area. What's also associated with the moon is, some of the moonsters, you know, and some of those moonsters, you think of a werewolf and then a vampire comes to mind. And, there's a few things with a vampire. Like a vampire, sometimes, a lot of times, is depicted with pointy ears, and a vampire is depicted with pale skin, and and depicted as a being like not able to walk in the sun, you know. Cause now, on a deeper level, I'm realizing like, like how deep Blade is, the movie or the comic book character technically, Blade, And that's funny. Dang, wow. Marvel didn't want to attach their name to Blade. Cause you think about that, all those Blade movies, that is a Marvel character. But it wasn't no "Brr," like how the Marvel movies. "Brr, brr, do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do." All right, that's me kind of being a black person right now on the whole, like why they why Wesley Snipes didn't get a, that red carpet, the red carpet Marvel treated, you know what I'm saying? Why Wesley didn't get all that in the first Blades. But anyway, you know, uh with the whole energy of the vampires, again, pointed ears, pale, not able to deal with the sun until, like, again, like till something came about to where a daywalker came into, you know, the experience where the vampire but yet could walk out in the day. And then that also represents, again, vampire simply just representing having to get energy from a different source. Now, of course, from an external source, and strongly dependent on it, you know. And again, it could be a energetic vampire type of situation, you know, when you think about certain ways Hollywood set up to, you know, raise people on a pedestal, but then at the same time, like, vamp their energy in certain ways, you feel me? Uh and I'm trying to think of a certain example. Well, I mean, yeah, they just kind of like raise you up and like, all right, you're popular, and then like, but now that you're popular, like again, the system is vamping you, you know, because they raise you up, make you popular, and what happens? Because again, the system deals with currency, or them the American system that we're crumbling or whatever, whatever. But that system, you get rich or energy from paper money. So they raise this actor up or this artist or whatever, whatever up. They get popular. We love it. That brings in that brings in the revenue. And then they constantly use your energy and image, you know what I'm saying? Drawing on your energy to for them to eat, in essence, you know what I'm saying? They children, all the little baby vamps. All the little baby vamps. But no, like all the all of them are feeding on that artist or whoever's energy, on that type of level, but then again, on different levels, again, just simple levels. When we talk about like a vampire, again, it goes deeper than just a simple, oh, energy vamp. Like, oh, they is, yeah, yeah, energy vamp. Like, nah, it's deeper than that. Like, a energy vamp, like vamp you to the point of you almost feeling like you have nothing else to live for, or you don't even have a purpose, or you don't even know your purpose. You know, like, and that type of energy, you know what I'm saying? When people go through, like, like all of a sudden, uh, and it's not, again, like, not no external thing. Oh, the vampire suck you dry, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, internal first, external second. You come across something feeling weird or something, and you feel like you're not getting, you know, because again, the whole vamp thing is not necessary that you're being drained, because if you're standing on your power, then nothing could necessarily take energy from you if you're not giving it to them. But what's happening is, though, is when you're feeling drained or like dealing, like you feel like you're dealing with an energy vamp, again, it's just a person that's not feeding you back energy in a situation where basically you doing your yoga, taking care of yourself, doing things. So you got some spiritual currency and you focused on them in the conversation. So they getting fed, but then they probably going through something or never plan on changing their life, or are not able to help themselves get healthier, whatever the case may be. you know so as you're engaging with them, it's like nothing, it's like void, like nothing coming back to you, in that sense, like, no gem, like they ain't dropping no little gems on you, or, because again, you do have to be aware, again, not to judge a book by its cover. You might come across uh, a spiritually powerful being, you know what I'm saying, that uh, may look homeless, or, you know what I'm saying, like different, little looks or life type, life situations going on, but, still a powerful spiritual being. So, you do have to be aware, and just across the board, observe without judgment, and just do your best to not judge anything by, the appearance on the two-eye level. You feel me? But again, the vampires that get into the whole connection with trolls, or should I say elves, and the videos, like anytime it was mentioned about like parasitic, like some of our ancestors that became parasitic, this connects with, our, Naga, our reptilian ancestors that, became parasitic in essence, you know. So again, like they had to, receive sunlight, you know, in order to shine. And that's like the moon, like in order to, so again, those beings, you know, the beings associated with the moon in essence, is associated with that energy of, like, again, like the reflective energy. Let's just say it like that. You feel? And you see even deeper again, we talk about mirror reflections, in the moon again reflecting the sun. And then also, and I felt this energy when it was coming up strong. I just wasn't in the space to hop on and do a video, but like the twin energy was just like coming up a lot strongly, and like as the twin energy came up, I want to say, yeah, it was right around the time too that Disney dropped Acolyte, or Disney or Star Wars dropped the show Acolyte with the two twins, and telling about a story of these two twins. Spoiler alert. Yeah, spoiler alert, because it's pretty good. You may want to watch it. But, but these two twins that were basically created from out of, like, just out of pure prana, you know what I'm saying? And in essence though, like, so basically missing the other aspect of creation. Because basically it's Osha and her sister, is it May? Yeah, Osha and May. They two twin girls. But they basically, and that's another thing too, they wasn't twins. They was actually like the same being, just clone in essence. But told that they were twins and sisters, but in essence, it was like, again, it is as if like somebody, like if I clone myself, and call that my brother, you feel me? Like it's kind of like that was the situation going on. But again, the twin energy deals with, and give me 1 second, we got to take care of this battery. Pause for the cause. Wait, let's see. All right, give me 1 second. So back up. We were at talking about the vampires. And let me make sure that y'all seeing the same thing on your screen that I'm seeing on my screen. I switched back to the book, but it's not showing that. Hmm. All right, so I guess I gotta switch it right here. Cool. Let's do that. All right. Oh dang, we're just gonna have to. So we're gonna reshare again. Let's get it. Oh wait, that's what I'm really trying to do, not just one window. Bam. That right, solved all my little problem right there. Right, right. There we go. So, and with the moon, got the twin energy, just off of the strength of the moon dealing with reflections. And the moon deals with reflections, or in essence, twins. You know, you think about the Dogon tribe, they were all about the whole twin thing. You look at the book, The Day of the Fish, and what's the other book? I forgot the name of it, but The Day of the Fish, though, you know what I'm saying, covers it in reference, has some good references. But, again, speaking to the importance of, everything being about like twins, and also the Taino people, and I feel like that's my little connection and my little, ancestral neck of the woods in Haiti. One of the areas, the Taino people, their mythology story is similar to, again, that of the Dogon tribe. And again, because it's, in essence, the same story being told. But again, you see the twins, and then Gemini, the twins of the zodiac, is ruled by Mercury. So you see a Toth connection, because again, in the video that I did on the whole Xenocephalus, the Hermanubis vibes were pointing out the connection with the five energy, but I mean with all the different energies, but Toth not only is connected to Mercury, but also the moon. And to bring up another movie or show connection, Moon Knight, the show Moon Knight, you know what I'm saying? And then also the god Khonsu. The god Khonsu basically is like a bird, you know what I'm saying? Let's see what Khonsu at. But basically, like a bird skeleton face. Matter of fact, though, right here is the picture. Matter of fact, I think this comes straight from the show, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, from Moon Knight. Yep. It's a picture right here. I don't want to go all into all kind of other stuff, but try to keep it as clean as possible because that's a part of the experience of sharing. Just making sure that I cater and share as clear as possible without all the distractions. But you get, you see, they got the little moon staff. And I may have spoken to it in a video a while back, but I also had this Doctor Strange comic because Doctor Strange basically represents the same energy too, in essence. Or again, in it, the great magician, Jehudi, Hermes Trismegistus, that's also the magician, you know, as you see him holding his staff, you feel me? You know, and a lot of times when we looking to do magic during this moon cycle, during that moon cycle, but again, the moon also connected to reflections. So that connects it to twins, which draws a connection to Gemini, which draws a connection to Mercury. So it draws another connection of Toth being connected with Mercury and the moon. And now let's see this connection right here. Oh, so as we're talking about vampires and basically pale skin beings are people, just to kind of jump right into that space a little bit, think about like all the different characters with these similar characteristics. You think about Voldemort from Harry Potter, in Harry Potter having a lightning strike, like when he was about to get attacked by Voldemort, he had a lightning strike scar on his head, to move it powder, and powder could, he manipulate the electromagnetic wave field, and he was pale. You got the Sith Lord, on Star Wars. If you think about the Star Wars where Anakin, uh, Star Wars Episode 3, I think, where Anakin first started, where he was about to start switching into Darth Vader. Well, when the switch, in essence, I mean, it been kind of, again, it was showing you how the energy was always there, but that shift really happened. Uh, when what's his name? Not Count Dooku. Think it's something Palpatine. But anyway, the Sith Lord, what I'm saying, in disguise as again somebody on the Senate, you know, when he was fighting against Samuel Jackson character, he used like lightning strikes, what I'm saying? As his more so his Jedi ability, was strong with lightning strikes, you know. And again he started turning pale. And then also again, Darth Vader, as Anakin turned into Darth Vader, start getting pale. Again, the Death Star is where Darth Vader and the Sith Lord, what I'm saying, is what they mostly dealt with, you know. Uh and then that also points to the connection with like robots and like beings that again, like, some of our ancestral connections, is to beings again that end up becoming parasitic and then also and then using like robotics or technology for lack of a better word, but like like metal technology, machine like technology in order to kind of blend in with their being again like a cyborg type of energy. this also points to, again, this is who the I want to say Arrakis on Doom, but the beings with the leader that look all fucking sloppy and nasty, and he pouring all over his body and doing all kind, whether it's the new Dune or the old school one. Matter of fact, the old school one is the nastier one. That's why, like, I can't. I be honest with you, I almost don't like watching the first movie Doom because of how nasty that character is in the first one. It's like what do you even think to make a person that disgusting there? But anyway. I get it, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, in the movie Doom, that's what they represent though. It's like they represent like that robotic, energy. And in essence, and again, that's also us, like to some extent in connection with that storyline of how basically what's his name? The main character that became the Duke of Atreides after his dad transitioned, Paul Atreides. You know, Paul Atreides basically, he ended up finding out like, oh shit, you know, uh, basically his Benny Gesserit mom, because she was with the Benny Gesserits, and that's kind of like in essence, somewhat connected to Palladian energy and like that occult, you could say mother's witch coven, grandmother witch coven occult, you know, type of energy. But his mom, that was a Benny Gesserit, come to find out her dad was again like one of the, I think it's Harkonnen, one of the Harkonnens. I think that's the name. Because Arrakis is where the spice is at, and the Harkonnens was the little nasty looking beings. On the second Doom movie, that's like with Batista. Batista was one of the soldiers or the nephews of the fat, nasty, floating, you know, machine guy. But anyway, the pale skin, that connection, Sith Lord, Darth Vader, that's also uh Prometheus, the movie that's connected with the alien movies. They depict those white beings, you know. And this is also so in the book, The Day of the Fish, the jackal is also uh basically considered like the pale fox are considered to be pale, so that draws that connection too. And again, with the pale vibes, it also made me think of also sperm in essence, but and that's also, let's see, you got the Aboriginals painting their skin, Aborigin. Let's see if they gonna show them. Yeah, but you see, and a lot of them got like more of the white face paint. So from the pale skin, we also get into the aspect of the, let's go to the jackal next. In the perspective are connecting with the, again, the Dogon tribe mythology. I won't bring up too much on the screens, mostly notes I drew out, but I will. Let's see, I think I do have notes on the day of the fish, man. I hope I got my notes on it. Let's see. Because sometimes when I make drawings on the PDFs or like highlight certain things, it stays on there. Let's see. Give me a second. Because it's also, again, about to get into the connection with Hephaestus, get into the connection with, the jackal that's explained again. And the jackal is also Hermanubis, again, the baboon connected to, Hermanubis, the Cynocephalus, and that also connects with again, Dragon Ball Z with the Ozura, Goku, had his tail and would turn, like basically like a werewolf, he would, turn whenever the moon and dang, like that just kind of like spoke volumes just now. Eh, like let's just say if Dragon Ball Z was very accurate on the part of the story. Because matter of fact, they did speak on that in the little from on the little Ancient Aliens channel. Not say ancient alien, no, not we ain't talking about the one on TV, but uh dang, I just forgot what it was. It'll come back up because I was gonna make a good little connection with that. But again, about to get into the jackal and Amma and Amma hands being like a hammer. Because we talk about all these pale beings, powder, and all of them being connected to lightning. You have Zeus that's connected to lightning, but then also, Hephaestus to some extent when you think about like although he's like the, basically Vulcan or volcano, and tied to that energy, you know, volcanoes in some cases I have like a thunderstorm, around them, you know, uh, when things are active on that certain type of level. So you see that connection too with the volcanoes and lightning strikes, you know. And speaking of the Kabbalah, you know, the Kabbalah, the path when you're going down the path, it's like in lightning strikes. You know what I'm saying? When you're going down the Sephiroth to the Kabbalah. Oh, here we go. Which I still want to bring it up, not from my notes, from something else, but just as a reference right now. Greatly appreciate y'all patience. So this Sephiroth right here, Yesod, is known as the foundation. So like why would again a Sephiroth associated with the moon? And the moon is associated with the sacral chakra, you know, and the act of sex, because again, the act of sex only happens from duality, you know, because even in the androgynous energy of being in one body, it's still, you know, it's like two different energies coming together, although both in the same body, and then it got into the space of where we separated the androgynous energy, into a masculine body and then a feminine body instead of a androgynous being that embodies both masculine and feminine. And I talked about that with the book, The Day of the Fish and the Fallen Angels video. You could check that video out if you want to get into what I shared on that. But yeah, you see this connection. And it's also what I was talking about earlier with Keither, the crown, or the primal mobile, which is almost like to some extent, you could almost say like the no thing in motion. The triple darkness, like Ain, because Ain soft, and Ain soft or is right above Keitha, so right above so it's like the prime mobile, like that no thing starting to move, get to the chakma, wisdom or the zodiac, and no coincidence again was talking about the bow, like the arc, and the etymology connect to Arcus or the bow, or what I'm saying, and the bow connected to Sagittarius, and Sagittarius connected to gaining wisdom, and again the bow and arrow, the bow with the bow and arrow representing, again having the knowledge or wielding the knowledge of the arc, you know wielding the knowledge of the zodiac, aka, having the 360 degrees of knowledge of the zodiac wheel, or having the ring of Solomon. Then again, but now over here, but you can't really see it too well. I think this is like understanding benign, and then Saturn. But again, like this is a lightning strike as well, how to know thing, or aka Sophia, going down into the experience. And again, though, this is the foundation right before Earth, because it's what makes, like the duality that the moon in essence causes is what makes, you know, the duality that make the duality that the moon, causes along with Saturn and the rest of the different incarnations of Toth. And again, all the different aspects of ourselves, you know what I'm saying? Like on on a deeper level, again, that's the name of the game. Like to some extent, when you hear that cliche statement, the work is just honestly moment to moment, like, again, staying present with, you know, the wholeness of yourself, staying present with understanding yourself, staying present at understanding how to balance the paradox of, oneness and individual experience, being in one experience. Like that's the quote unquote the work, is you having to develop discipline and spiritual practices constantly, you know, because I feel like again, like the computer age, you know, uh coming in strong as of late, or just the technology boom again created the social engineering of where mentally a lot of us, is creating a type of mind frame where people don't want to do the work or work for nothing. Like everybody looking for the 5 simple ways to do this or 3 steps to change your life around in 1 hour. You know what I'm saying? Like, like it's social engineering and, conditioning people's minds and just, behaviors and habits to be looking for the instant gratification, you know. And that's where again the subconscious programming be so subtle, you know what I'm saying? Because you're not thinking about that when you thinking about, using technology in essence, you know. Shout out to those of us well that had, and when we say didn't experience the internet, again, because we wasn't a part of the military, the internet was out, but it wasn't for the masses. But anyway, because that's the first thing they tell you in computer science when I shout out to the HBCU, Southern and Baton Rouge, you know what I'm saying? In my computer science class, this freshman year, it's just like, and one thing y'all need to know, anything that we get our hands on or we're playing with on a technology level, the government has been playing with it 10 years before we even touched it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's funny that, out of most things that, to start off a computer class with, that was one of the things she shared with us. But, yeah, that little energy. But let me dial back that tangent. But again, you see, this being the foundation for again binary, you know, uh the foundation of a binary world, ones and zeros, because Malkut, the kingdom, what I'm saying, could also be seen as that as well, you know. It's like the ones and zeros, and this is also why you see in some cases the Lilith uh depiction like also connected to like robots and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I think of the show what it was, Raised by Wolves, if I'm not mistaken. The Raised by Wolves? Yeah, Raised by Wolves, you know. And she represented the Lilith character. As a matter of fact, as you see the snake with the tree of life in the background. I'm gonna try to make it big one time. Right. It's all kind of the stuff. We just want to see a picture a little bit bigger. But yeah, it goes into Raised by Wolves, but again, she is depicted as like a android, having to take care of these uh human babies. Cause again, it ain't like the nature of things is to be like, again, like, hey, these people are all bad, these are all good. You know what I'm saying? When you look at uh Star Wars, you could see how the Jedi could be just as manipulative as the Sith, you know what I'm saying, in essence. But again, this realm being a simulation, that's also the connection with insects, again, brought up uh Bridge of Ra also brought up a few things with that, tying it into, the main one of the characters on Hunter x Hunter, the main character, well, one of the main characters, the little king of the insects or the ants, you know, like his energy kind of, in essence, kind of connected to that. You could say, like the jackal energy to some extent, but more so though, what I'm pointing to, the insects, connect to the matrix. Like again, the bugs. Like or when you're fixing your computer, I'm trying to get all the bugs out. You feel me? You know, you're going on the internet. It's the World Wide Web, like the spider's web. The internet is like a spider web, and you know, the internet somewhat like the subconscious. So the spider is somewhat like connected to, what I'm saying? Like again, like the web or the network, like a web is like a network, you know what I'm saying? So same thing, or same connection with that. And let's see, getting the bugs out. You got the World Wide Web. But just basically, again, uh doing surveillance, or I'm gonna bug that room, or they bugged the car with a camera, or the thing with list, but bugs associated with, again, like computers or technology and stuff like that. And that's like quite literally because again, the realm, nature, the matrix, like the bugs are, like closely connected with the fabric of the space. Not saying bugs good or bad, right or wrong. You feel me? So, and just next with the whole Amma vibe, Amma hands in a V shape. Let's see if I could find it in here. Little cane. And again, the jackal that's connected to Anubis, you know, K9 walking with a cane, you know, like the leg bud archetype, or Lazarus walking with a cane, K9, cannabis. While we right here, again, the jackal, according to Campbell, the snake-footed guy was identified as Io or Io, a variant spelling. It is a form of the tetragrammaton or the four Hebrew letters used to represent the unspoken name of the God of Judaism. Shows the name of Yahweh beneath this rooster's head. The snake god, the rooster is another symbol of the jackal, as he was depicted on the walls of the Dogon totemic shrines. The jackal was identified with the Dogon word yo, Yo, MTV Raps. Again, like and again, this is all our, this is our roots, this is our connection, Again, it's not to worship, Yadala brought out a demiurge, knowing that again, like the demiurge or Yadala brought is, you know, like not the only aspect of source energy, you feel me? But at the same time, it doesn't mean that we, you know, disrespect, the energy. But again, and that's what I was gonna say, yo, MTV Raps, Dogon word, yo, MTV Raps and hip hop and rabbits. I did the video about the trickster energy and the rabbits, and the rabbits being connected to the moon or the lunar energy, you know. And again, y'all, yo, in the Dogon, which meant to enter like a thief to grab something. And no coincidence that there's a story again of the jackal basically uh stealing a spaceship and crashing it into Earth. So basically the jackal stole a spaceship and crashed it into Earth. And it's going to also start sliding into the HePHAEstus connection as well. Again, this is an important reference because besides being symbolized by the moon and a rooster, in the Dogon religion, the jackal was most often known for the reference to a dog, fox, or goat. So any of these archetypes, point to, the jackal, any pale beings. And let me see if again I could pull up that part if I got it highlighted. I may not, but what I'm looking to get to anyway is the part about Amma's hands. And matter of fact, we was on while we was right there. Speaking of the spaceship crashing into Earth, let's see. I have it right here. So let's see. Let's see right here. Let's look at this part right here, right quick. Right here. These amulets, which those amulets above, which we was just looking at, these amulets here. Because an amulet or a talisman, in essence, is like having like a written word on a stone or some type of object. Uh, let's see. These amulets would be associated with the moon and the jackal. The sun and moon symbols were reversed by the patriarchal tribesmen. According to Campbell, the Jewish Anguipede was normally shown as a war god, bearing on his right arm a shield and in his left hand the whip of Helios. Campbell reports that on the amulet in figure 12:2, Ares, the Greek god of war, stands on the Anguipede's head. This is significant because in the Dogon mythology, there was a suggestion of a rebellion against the Nomo by male humans. Those rebellious males were identified with the jackal, a war god standing on the jackal. Let's see, a war god standing on the jackal's head could indicate their warlike nature, a result of a failed experiment. So you got HePHAEstus. Get into next. We got the white beings. And again, the connection with the jackal crashing his spaceship into Earth has a connection with HePHAEstus. And HePHAEstus, again, the main thing in his name, is Fae, like a fairy. Let's see what we at here. You know what? Let me get out of this. To that so much time. So HePHAEstus. And look at his name, the middle of his name, Fae, like the fairies, the Fae. And now let's see, we're gonna play a little bit of this video, you know, bringing in all the connection because it's just, I feel like it helps when other people, kind of like you hear other perspectives within it. You feel me? But let's go with this right quick. Let's get this in. And as you see this again, like all the different, as I started off talking about, like, uh, the different archetypes, like is is multi is multiple different archetypes, just names being given to them. Because in some cases, again, like in with her face is in essence, to some extent, embodies uh the Ogun. So say for instance, connected to Santeria, or voodoo to some extent. Hephaestus is the Legba energy and the Ogun energy. Is the Legba energy from the perspective of being an artisan, and creating art, you know what I'm saying? And like again, like because working with crystals and creating like, amulets and stuff like that, you know, that's also in the Elegua uh mythology. And then it's also in the Loki mythology too. Well, Loki known for like creating amulets and stuff like that. But you see like how that's blended into this expression of the archetype from the Greek perspective. And so now again, as somebody that, like when you realize you want to like get to like the purest truth, like if you seeing like, all right, these people took two gods and mixed them together. These people took one god and separated it into five different gods, like then what came before the names of the god? You know what I'm saying? Like what came before the names, since they, each culture taking the same archetype and chopping it up either into different parts or taking multiple different archetypes and putting it into one, but it's like basically like different people. And again, like how I explained, when you really start to see like the show American Gods, it's like when you really look at it, when you really start to see the understand, like basically Toth was the whole cast, you know what I'm saying? Jehudi, the trickster, you know, uh that that energy, that Hermanubis Toth energy. Again, Toth and Anubis working at the funeral home together. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the main, like bam, hit you with that. Wednesday is Mercury, you know what I'm saying, which is Toth. You feel me? But a whole different character, you know what I'm saying? Uh in essence, to some extent, the Jesus energy, you know what I'm saying, the Christ energy, you know, like that's the sun, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the it's been a long video, guys. Excuse me. Uh, what I was tying in the sun, but again, has Hephaestus, all these different archetypes, you know what I'm saying? And the rawness of it is represented by numbers, and the rawness of it represented by just a vibrational frequency, by the rawness of it represented by things in nature without having to give it a particular name, you know? Like if I'm connecting with metals, I don't have to, like I'm tapping in with that Hephaestus archetype within me, you know what I'm saying? I don't have to go and make a altar and be like, dear Hephaestus, you know, can you help me to hit the lottery? Dear Hephaestus, can you build me a house? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, now what I can say about this, and this I feel like is not usually said with this perspective, is now with the understanding of, like, hey, these archetypes exist within us. When you understand that these archetypes exist within you, then yes, like it it kind of in essence puts the responsibility more in your hands than, than to just like, oh, I'm gonna just kind of externalize these deities or God, as if it's not inside of me. Then, in essence, it feels like less responsibility and less actions you have to take because like, hey, Hephaestus, or hey, like you're doing that. Then, but when you embody it, like it takes that responsibility and that connection. Like again, like say for instance, summertime. Oh, it's the summertime. Oh wait, did I press the mute? All right, no, it's back. It's the summertime. Like I'm eating a lot of watermelon. You know what I'm saying? Watermelon connected to the Yemenya energy or the Mame Wata energy. So just simply put, I'm eating that watermelon. I'm connecting with that Mame Wata energy. I'm connecting with that, you know, just in essence, like the primordial mother energy. Now, of course, it goes deeper than that. And I feel like, that's the balance again, that's the work. Like, yeah, everything interconnected, but that don't mean to be gullible and not be discerning. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be discerning and be aware, like and intuitively feel, like what's going on internally and externally, you know, because everything is interconnected, but that doesn't just because you understand that and you embody it, again, like of course protect and stuff like that, but again, that don't automatically puts it in the minds of everybody outside of us, you know, not everybody, you feel, on that level. That's where the individual, that's the individual aspect to the experience, in that essence. But let us continue this. Vulcan. So you remember when again it's talking about vampires, pointed ears, pale skin, but the pointed ears and pale skin to some extent with this connection. Vulcan, the Vulcans on Star Trek, not Star Wars, Star Trek. On Star Trek, Spock with the pointed ears. That's mostly logical, you know, and I don't really get this type of energy and that type of energy because I'm an elf that has been living for a long time, like the elves on Lord of the Rings that were kind of stuck up because, those humans or those beings over there get themselves into stuff, but us elvins, we're staying over here, you know. But I'm just kind of again playing with it a little bit. But again, the Vulcans, uh Spock, the pointed ears, the elves, the elven race. And again, I'm not going because I could be doing it's probably we probably at the 3 hour mark right now. No telling. Uh because I could go on and on. But again, check out this book. Again, I didn't reference it before. I reference it again. The Dragon Legacy, the secret history of the ancient bloodline. Because again, although it's kind of, and that's the thing too, not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's talking about when these spirits were mostly active in the European areas, and from that perspective. But I promise you, you would be throwing the baby out with the bathwater if you kind of like, oh, well, I'm not going, It's like, nah. And especially because of how much great etymology is in this book, etymology breakdowns. And matter of fact, let's see, as we talking about right here, I don't want to go off too far from where we at with it. And matter of fact, go and look at some of my notes right here. Let's see. So, pure bloodline, Day of the Fish, are in the book, the Day of the Fish, and the fish equals dragon. Because also, again, the scales, the knights that wore like the little armor with the scales, the knight in shining armor that looked like, like dragon scales. You had the dragon scales on the movie, uh, what it was, Sun Shang-Chi, the Marvel movie Shang-Chi with the 10 rings and matter of fact, and they were diving into the fairy kingdom and the nature spirits on there. And again, that's, a lot of us are again connected with this energy. You know, it's you start to realize like there are, no matter what the background of a being is, it just matters on like how like what they energetically represent and align with in this lifetime. Do they align with, you know, truth? Do they align with, you know, like helping to transmute, you know, wounds and to help uh create new healthy karmic cycles, like are they aligned with that are, to keep that cycle in essence, going. But oh, a matter of fact, and that's also like when you see with because that's what this book, I feel like this book kind of reminds me. It's the Lord of the Rings, uh, House of Thrones, uh, what else? A little bit of Harry Potter, like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, House of Thrones, like that type of energy, and like Druid, fairy tales, anime, Seven Deadly Sins, anime, definitely, a little bit of nah, not too much of a Full Metal Alchemist, but a little bit, but yeah, anyway. Then you also see some connections. Let's see. Any spirit, including the archangels, conjured by the witch or magician. The distinction like that between pagan and Christian is fallacious. As in ceremonial mass. So again, any spirit, including the archangels, conjured by the witch or magician, as in ceremonial magic, was actually the ancestor of the witch herself or himself. It was a denizen of the ancient dragon itself, but carried in the witch's blood, which the purer it was through unbroken descent from the dragons, the purer, unbroken descent from the dragons. The what that is the again the House of Dragons with Great Game of Thrones, and they all inbreeding and in the little sister had a child with the uncle. The uncle got a child with his great grandniece, and all that type of and kind of like what the Rothschild family and other families like mimic and try to represent as well. Feel me? But again, the stronger the blood, the stronger the invocation, the more complete the possession. With mixed blood, there was weak inspiration and little discernible presence. The blood is the life. The witch was possessed by this daemon because the witch by descent and hereditary was the daemon. Oh dang. All right. Now this deep and this get on some other stuff and we ain't gonna go into that right now. That's a whole other situation. Cause even as I'm like, oh man, that's a whole nother video. But anyway, so with the vampires, you got the Fae energy. The fairy, got the Vulcan connected to HePHAEstus. So we're gonna get back into that video. Oh, wait. No, cast down from heaven and discussed by his mother. And then also in the Day of the Fish, the jackal was seen as a failed experiment, as a failed genetic experiment. And so, he was in essence casted down. Let's see, get to the bibliography. Maybe it might be right here. Yep, this one I'm looking for. Table of content. But yeah, it's definitely again like a good book to check out. Oh, Sacrifice, resurrection. I'm looking for. But let's just take it again though. Vulcan connected to the jackal by being casted out. And then that goes into the multiple. Let's see where we at. Tying it to the volcano. And I did the video a while back about, like Moldavite and Moldavite possibly being obsidian, like Moldavite possibly coming from a volcanic explosion. Well, when a volcano explode and the melting lava might, because if it strongly explodes, that melting lava goes into the sky and then drops and falls almost like a falling star or a meteorite. And again, I'm not one of those people. I'm not on the extreme or looking to be like meteorites don't exist or what like honestly like shit. Like my life wouldn't change. Like, oh man, Moldavite is really a meteorite. All right, cool. It ain't cool. You know what I'm saying? But is me kind of again like I just felt, just everything kind of synchronistically brought me into this direction and so I'm sharing. But what we was about to look so wait, hold on. This also, so all right, let's just finish this. So again, this connection with, before the moon and Hephaestus. Now, in certain, again, from the intergalactic perspective of telling this story, I think of the Terra Papers and the connection with Star Wars, but not only the Terra Papers, but then also, and let's see, let's just fucking let's turn up. Let's go there because I want to go in on this video. I don't care how long it take me. I don't care how boring it can seem or get. I want to have a strong for the record connection. But let's see. So I was just talking about her face this and the moon. Dang, I forgot what I was about to look up that quick. And let me recap it. So again, the time before the moon and its connection with her face this. Oh, all right. I know what I'm talking about. And before I go to this one right here, uh, shout out to Q Reeves for doing this. Like I came across this video and I posted it on my Instagram, and then a few days later, and again, I'm not saying because again, I know how the interconnectedness, so I'm not again like the whole situation of like, oh, that person copying me or saying what I'm saying. Like I it's gonna be so I'm gonna feel so great when, you know, when that elephant in the room pops up, like of like quote unquote dealing with intellectual property of like who said something first with information that none of us own. But and I get it, we are on a unique experience, and like now's the vibrate is something created by universal frequencies. Epic lifestyles is created by universal or call Ray or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But ultimately we all just, channeling with these different perspectives. And I say channeling, awakening knowledge and sharing it, however you want to name it. But to again, like different soul fams and stuff like that got different beings who they resonate with or connect with, as far as like who they want to, like, hey, in the next lifetime, we want this being, universal. You gonna remind us. All right, y'all, I got you. But again, it's interconnected because you are me, I am you. Like, I'm telling you, you know. And that be the trick in this is like to understand that, but then not get into the loss of mushiness of like, oh, kumbaya, my lord, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like having to find that balance. But let's see, I think this is the one right here. But on this video, so again, we left from the other video and it was like the time, or the peoples that were around when the moon wasn't in the sky. And no coincidence that a lot of like intergalactic type of stories was like the moon came into the sky or came into play, and then the reptilians showed up, you know what I'm saying? And the reptilians showed up, with the false moon, and that's when like, the duality and the matrix kind of started like having that entrapment type of energy more, you know what I'm saying? And let's see if they got something with it to allow for me to go straight to it. Wait, give me a second. I see they got little slide. Oh, wait, let's see. Might be here. All right, yeah. And again, it's a lot of just, different, you know, uh like breeding and, you know, I think it might bring it up right here. And before getting into it, again, it's not saying that everything verbatim of what they're saying in this video are, you know what I'm saying, in particular the videos that I'm referencing from this channel, but they definitely like again, like, after all my research and DMT trips and stuff like that, when I like came across this, I'm like, right, like again, it it's the truths, but again, we just kind of like again refining the details. So they might have maybe one little simple detail a little off, but not off to the point where it just throws the whole story off, in essence. And think about that and the key of why, I'm even, like sitting here doing this and others do this. It's like right now, matter of fact, you know, not from a space of like looking for fame, but just like, like you're a very popular being, a very important. Not even gonna make it fame or popularity. Like you're very important because you're holding a space to bridge the gap of of knowledge. And I like the way they did this like visual because they basically like tied in so many, like they indirectly tied in the movie energy. So you could kind of like, like this is pretty dope. And again, of course, importantly, getting our energetic hygiene together on a level to tap into this again on a dream level and in the astral plane, you know what I'm saying? Because again, like that's in essence the more real aspect than, you know what I'm saying, than being in this space. But and now, bam, let's bring this into play too. You know, the three body problem. Basically in physics, they talk about like how like, all right, when two things orbiting, they kind of keep like a centripetal force or like where they're with just two of them, they kind of keep like a symmetrical spin cycle, so to speak, where they spin around each other or orbit each other in a symmetrical, meaning their symmetry are like this side of the orbit is, equal or the same as this one, but just on the opposite side. But again, like that symmetry, you know, that symmetrical. But again, the three body problem in the sense of again, you got the sun and the earth, and then now these beings bring this moon into the orbit. So that kind of, that's gonna cause some type of, changes, Some may equate it to the wobble, and again, connecting it to the temple of Dendra and a lot of again a lot of ancient civilizations connecting some type of zodiac event or like some type of celestial event, connected to changes within the realm. But again, it was pointing to the I mean, at the temple of Dendor point to the Cancer zodiac sign. Again, Cancer ruled by the moon. And when you think of like etymology on a level of like just certain words, drawing to certain connections when you look deeper into like, cognates of words. So basically like looking into like root uh the root origins of certain words and stuff like that. But I was gonna say I'm going too deep onto it. Anyway, Sir, SER, is also connected to again serpent, the serpents, Kundalini energy. Again, that's why, again, anatomy, mythology, because this could also be seen as the first time, uh, let's just say like the first time the Kundalini DNA was put into a certain type of being, you know, like maybe a being that was used to always having a androgynous or oneness experience, you know, got plugged with this DNA of this being that was used to duality, or or had that kind of, reflective moon energy, you know. And I'm saying it like lucid, but in essence, again, as above, so below. If all of a sudden this planet came, well, then all of a sudden there must have been some type of archetype introduced to a physical body of some type of person on some type of level. If that story exists on that level, it exists happening to a human body as well. You feel me? And when we talk about reflections and the moon being a reflection, like, and us calling each other, like reflect, like all of a sudden, maybe, again, like that's when all the reflections popped up, But again, though, with the moon popping up for the first time, that could also be, a connection with the three body problem as well, But again, it's just something point to the moon. Again, the Cancer constellation, got Cancer, excuse me, zodiac archetype ruled by the moon. And again, you take the moon away, you ain't got no high priestess in the tarot deck no more. You don't have the Yesod Sephiroth anymore. You ain't got the Cancer zodiac sign. And again, like either you wouldn't have these things or they would be assigned to a different planet, or something of that nature. But again, Cancer zodiac, like there ain't no moon. So what Cancer is ruled by blank, you know what I'm saying? Good. And again, different accounts. The moon wasn't always there. And we always look to like see how things were in its earliest stages. So it's like, all right, you know, if there was a moment that this world existed without the moon, like why don't everybody talk about going so far back in other areas? Why nobody talks about this? You know, so much scholarship and a lot of this, but and I mean I know why again, like it's certain levels of politics and stuff like that, that go on, but again, like the moon, the solar energy, both moon and solar energy does exist within. The jackal archetype is a part, that's in the DNA. And they kind of get into that, like again, like the crossbreeding of energies and stuff like that. But again, either werewolves would activate from another planet as far as like another planet being in the sky, like, where like before the moon was there, werewolves activated when Saturn was in the sky or something like that. 'Cause that's another thing too that comes to mind. Maybe, again, like different planets being closer, in orbit as well, possibly. But I'm not getting into speculation. We're talking about the facts of what what I'm saying? Again, facts that there are accounts of the moon not always existing, you know. So again, werewolves wouldn't always exist, you know. And when we talk about like the moon is connected to cycles, tide changes, ebb and flow, which points to the fact that it's about duality. Because all that had that this also kind of speaks to the fact that almost all the hermetic principles, all the seven hermetic laws, the seven universal laws, like of polarity and then of gender and of cycles and of vibration. It basically all has to deal with, it's almost all one law to some extent, if you kind of get it. Because even something vibrating, a vibration is in essence something moving. So it's like, like a ebb and flow or like a cycle, so the law of vibration and the law of cycle is almost like the same thing because a vibration to some extent is a cycle, you know, when this, like I move my face, my vibrate my finger, it goes from here to here in so many seconds. That's a cycle, you know what I'm saying? But again, the moon deals with, the duality energy, you feel me? And that coming into, into the experience. Again, gods, goddesses, deities, either they would, either Hecate or the triple moon goddess, excuse me, you know, again, had to probably be either the triple sun goddess or, the triple Saturn guy, but it wasn't the moon, you know. So again, like the moon in essence kind of push that duality button. Again, the symbol for the nation of Islam wouldn't exist, you know. It's a lot of things that wouldn't existed in that, in those moments. And then that just, again, just ask yourself the question, and all right, why is, the moon so highly valued, although it wasn't always here, and although it's connected with some type of big event that possibly was catastrophic, and although it is a part of the reincarnation cycle. Because again, your emotional attachments, like, like being so scarred emotionally and subconsciously that, you're not able to let it go. And if you're not able to, let it go, and then the moon intensifying that emotion, like then it kind of creates like a, like a cycle. There's some type of earth changing event, you know, connected with that energy. And then also with HePHAEstus, being casted down into the volcano, and then basically turn the volcano into his workshop, you know, and the aspect of magma, or the core, you know, again, like that's almost like an inner sun. And think about it, in most cases, again, like we look at things, not say we look at it, like that's how it operates, is inner first, then outer. You have a vibration going on within you, you know, and then that attracts a certain experience, externally. But again, you got the inner sun is more so like the magma, the core of the earth in essence, and then the external sun or the second sun, that's in the sky in essence. So again, the missing moon connecting with volcanoes. And again, that's connecting with, either falling stars or meteorites, you know. And again, I got the videos connecting the whole meteorite volcanoes and again, meteorites possibly being obsidians. I done did the videos with research on that I, connect with this, but that you could go research. But I'm also posted so those who don't know the name, because some of y'all again y'all keeping up. So as I'm saying this, you're like, oh, all right, I remember that video. I'll go check it out. But again, for somebody just kind of watching for the first time, you know, go check out those videos. I have them referenced so you could know where to go. But again, also like they got these mud volcanoes in I want to say it's like in the India area, but one mud volcano that's called Chandragoop or Chandragup, and Chandra is another name for moon. You know, Chandra is the moon god in the Vedic or Hindu pantheon. I should say Hindu pantheon. You know, or basically Chandra is the moon, or again moon god. And this mountain, Chandragup mud volcano, is considered to be an embodiment of Shiva. And my apologies if, I hit these little spurts sometimes where, might get a little quiet. Yeah, volcano in Pakistan. Chandragop. And Chandra the moon. And sometimes what's funny is like I feel like sometimes uh, I don't know if there's a thing where like where you could make too many connections. It's like, man, with all these connections, like in the sense of like, I trust this is, although sometimes I'm again, because I know how sometimes the slow delivery could kind of, you know what I'm saying, mess with things. So I'm trying to make sure that, it's staying on point and on pace and that it's genuinely connecting throughout as I'm speaking on it. Now, also, all right, you got the Vulcan. We talked about the Vulcan and the fake connection. Also, I want to run this little video. So we did that. As a matter of fact, and speaking of HePHAEstus in the Forge and Minecraft, so all right, HePHAEstus. Let's see, where is it? As a matter of fact, while we right here, just because this kind of goes into it, these beings also known as leprechauns, and the etymology of this word It starts to mean small bodied and actually means scaly bodied from the Latin word leper, as in leprosy or scaly skin. Leprechaun, scaly skin connected to the serpents or the fish, you know, and this is also connected to, again, because the banking system is connected to, the water fairies, the Devic kingdom or the fairy kingdom of the ocean or the waters in essence, you know, and hence why again currency, and no coincidence if you think, that's also why they depicted it like that on Harry Potter, when they went to the bank to withdraw their magic wand or something he had to get from the bank, and they had all of the, leprechaun like little elves in there, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Saturn Claus and his elves, because again, it's connected to Saturn. I mean, all the different archetype, all the different all the different archons, and all the different, AKA, all the different aspects of, you know, what we what it's called Toth, Jehudi, Hermanubis, all these different aspects of the same being. But yeah, again, that Harry Potter, that's that whole connection, Saturn, Claus, Saturn. Even if you think, I think another name for Mercury in the Hindu, uh, another name for Mercury is Buddha. Let's put it like that. And the whole leprechaun and serpent thing may also be connected with, the St. Patrick's Day thing with the uh druids, and possibly them talking about chasing out the Twa people or the fairy Naga energy, you know. Again, and Saturn claws. Saturn starts from, Saturn deals with the earth, you know, root chakra from the chimney area, you know what I'm saying? The bottom of the chimney, is the spine, the top of the chimney up here. And more so like the Christmas tree, garnishing the Christmas tree could be seen as like the tree of life, could be seen as our spine and like the chakras. There's a bunch of different connections. And then, matter of fact, again, another etymology, the second Gaelic word for vampire is Sumer. Again, they get into Samael, Lilith, all that good stuff up in here. They real good though with the etymology breakdowns. No, it's not coming up. But again, it's also though, all right, with the moon energy, coming into play. So the reptilians come into the solar system with this moon, or AKA, you know, these reptiles sitting, this serpent sitting on a tree in the garden, you know, like, cause the serpent is the draconian, the serpent, you know what I'm saying, being serpent on the tree of life, saying, hey, bite this moon, bite this duality, bite this, moon, sacral chakra, sexual experience, bite into this, and get the knowledge of, you know what I'm saying, quote unquote gods and goddess, but quote unquote gods. Just some more. Accepting this, we may further suggest that as priests of these preeminent tree of life and knowledge, they may be further identified with those magicians and scholars whose Transylvanian descendants were the Scythian Aryans or Sumerian Anunnaki. And I talked about the Scythian Aryans in some of the Oak Tree Indra videos I did. Again, the Anunnaki, the Dragon God Kings, they were instrumental in establishing the chakra system of Hindu and Buddhist Tantra, and Hebrew, Arabic, and Greek Kabbalah. You know what I'm saying? So, bam, they introduced Kabbalah, they could introduce that because they just introduced the moon. So, they could introduce a Kabbalah with your side or that quote unquote foundation, you know, just again. And let's keep it so going there, Saturn, Saturn claws with the elves, Sauron, the Eye of Sauron in the Lord of the Rings. And now that's the flip the script vibe. And matter of fact, again, shout out to Bridge of Ra for, enlightening us again on a lot of this. Cause again, this is a part of our, ancestry on certain levels, and it's taken and again, like it's thrown to the other extreme to confuse you. Like, yes, that part of us is darker. Yes, that part of us, is connected to the moon, but it's not a complete all bad monster energy, within us on that level, you feel me? As it's depicted, let's just say in again, like you think a lot of Rings, they flipped the script by, like the volcano energy was, where Sauron was, but he was, creating ugly, nasty goblins out of this volcano. You know what I'm saying? And which again, a lot of our, a lot of aspects of, being, everything ain't all pretty and stuff like that. But even still, though, it's not though that extreme character, like how, like, because think about that, like the primordial, you know, uh, you could say intelligence to some extent, but like that energy being like those slobbish little, goblins coming out of uh I forgot what's the mount. Mordor. Coming from Mordor. But yeah, that's and another connection, with Bridge on that one where he was like explaining like again, like how watching movies or looking at stories from, from back to front instead of front to back. So like watching like again like looking at analyzing or looking at Lord of the Rings from the looking at the last Lord of the Rings movie as if it's the beginning of the story and looking at the end of the last movie as the beginning of the story and then the beginning of the first movie as the end of the story, you know. But in so many ways though, like again, uh when we talk about the Balrog and the Balrog coming out of that volcano and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Again, the volcano connected to the keratin, or the volcano connected to sulfur, sulfur connected to the health of hair or keratin. Keratin, in essence, is what causes hair to not basically not die, you know And when you in the hairstyle of, Ethiopia, Rastafari, in the land where you got high mountainous areas and the Danakil, depression, or just the that Danakil area, you know, kind of like to use the word depression. This feels funny. Anyway, and then I brought up also the Dragon Prince, that show bringing up the fire elves, and how they depict the fire elves. But yeah, the volcano, the sulfur helps the keratin. The keratin is connected to the reason why, hair stays alive. Like again, you cut your hair and the hair stays alive for forever, basically. You know what I'm saying? And again, the dreadlocks connected to us being connected to the volcano, the underworld energy, Anubis energy, or Toth Anubis, because Anubis in essence is Toth, working at the funeral home together, like on on American Gods, you know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, right here you see some little them just drawing a bunch of little names together. The great oak god, and it got Jupiter, Thor, Jehovah, are Enlil. And that's the thing, Jupiter, Thor, Jehovah, are Enlil is that aspect, you know. While the Saturn, I guess to some extent Odin in this case, because that's, Jupiter, that's Zeus, and who was Zeus or Jupiter's father? Saturn or Kronos, so who was Thor's father? Woden, you know what I'm saying? Nah, and that's what, and now you see though, where Christian giving everybody the slip because, they putting Jehovah, as the God of all things, or they putting Yahweh, Yehudi, Jehudi, you know, when they got parents. You know what I'm saying? Like again, certain religions treating them as the guys that's the end all be all when they got parents. And again, all of this is about clearing confusion because it's like, all right, the whole reason why a lot of stuff get so off is because the whole, the truthful stories is not being told as pure or as truthful as it can be. It's still either stuff still being hidden or stuff still being shared in a politicking, persuasive type of manner. It's like having to move through all that. But again, so let's bring this to the space back to Hephaestus. Oh, and that's what I was looking for, as I remember. Might not show up. But basically, also with the fairy race or the fairy beings, connected to mining, you know, you think about mining crystals, you know what I'm saying? And crystals again come from that magma, that lava. I'm trying to I'm gonna bring up there's some parts in the book that was bringing up the connections with mining. Wait, I saw some. Matter of fact, see. Origin of Dragon Lords, Lord of the Rings. Matter of fact, I brought this part up with Tiamat and, even looking at again that connection with the tree. Tiamat or Tiamata, the first tree mother, you know, and the link between how trees, volcanoes, in essence are similar to, the stars, kind of like, stargates are special like ley line areas where the ley lines, cross and create some type of, portal. Let's see, but let's just look at it from the movie perspective and then I'll get at that shortly. But before even doing that again, though, even on seeing that connection, they got this on the game Minecraft. And again, not to mention that Hephaestus is connected to the Forge and connected to Fae or fairies, you know what I'm saying? And now I'm looking to understand and tie it together with the Hindu mythology because, Indra Indra is connected to the fairies, but Indra embodies lightning and more so connected to the Zeus energy in essence, you know. But he did have a battle with his brother, and I talked about that in the video and the etymology of that, connecting like the whole little uh, the Aryan and Hindu mythology connections, but trying not trying drawing those connections with Indra as well. But yeah, you see that this game has this, and quite literally, like on this game, it got like it's a magic circle. It's mimicking a magic circle. Any of us who done a little research on certain stuff. But all right, now you got. Let's see. So uh, it's and what Artemis was the god of? Artemis was the god of the moon, if I'm not mistaken. That's not. Let's see. Let's see. Here we go. So this little scene. With that's the centaur. The centaur, he loves the bow, he loves the knowledge of the bow. And now what's funny, it almost looked like the same volcano from that other video I was just showing. We was talking about the HePHAEstus thing, but again, from out of the VulcanO. So again, it's another reference. The Fae, the fairies, and this somewhat in the video I did about the critiquers and the Black Obsidian and the whole thing again. The Black Obsidian, used as a mirror, you know, uses a black mirror to, scry and channel, these quote unquote angels, you know what I'm saying, in connection with like what John D was doing. But, again, like with anything, you gotta know what you're, like what aspects of self are you channeling. Because again, like a rough trip, when it comes to psychedelics and things of this nature, is us, channeling or dealing with a part of ourselves that we ain't seen in a minute, or that's, challenging to us in some way, form, or fashion. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, see that connection with the moon again, moon, Artemis Fowl, volcanoes, getting the black obsidian, working with the subconscious. The moon is connected to the subconscious mind, you know. We're gonna start closing and let's see, this last little video and we're gonna start commencing. But it's simply and tying in another aspect to Toth. And in this one, just multiple aspects. Again, you get to peep out the psychological aspect to like like again, the psychology that's connected to superpowers in essence. I did a reference to a while back, I referenced the movie or the show Raising Dion, I think, with the little boy that had the magical powers or whatever. But he had like a mentor, who had the power to like create walls. And as he was telling his story or whatever, he was talking about something he went through in essence. And, basically that made him feel like he didn't have any protection or any boundaries, you know. And through going through that, in essence, he kind of learned the ability to put up walls. So quite literally though, as a super power, or ability, he could put up walls, like a basically like a energetic wall to stop somebody from getting close, you know. But again, like if a person with that could read minds, a person that could read minds probably went through some type of trauma where they felt that they couldn't trust anybody, you know. So they want to read minds. Again, the healthy expression of this are like the proper etiquette, like, like how Xavier would try to, not just pierce into everybody's shit, intensive intention, or should I say like intensely and purposely, like, he wouldn't try to, although it's automatic in essence if you like psychic on that level, but he tried to display some etiquette about that. But anyway, that ability in essence, you know, could be seen as, develop, and I even say be seen as developed from the perspective of not being able to trust you, not being able to trust anybody. So what could help you if you feel you can't trust everybody? If you could hear exactly what they were thinking. Because if I hear the robber, the person looking to steal something from my cousin walking down the street, and I hear him like, oh yeah, I'm about to go over there and steal a car. I already got the, and it's like, bam, all right, well, hey, I know not to trust him because I just heard his thoughts. And you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how that, I like to spell it out sometimes. Yeah, this from the gods of Egypt, which we'd have made many jokes about. As far as like again, the whole Hollywood not wanting to show melanated people in their true roles, but moving all slow. Hold on, this too smooth thing. But yeah, basically, no coincidence. That's the brethren who played T'Challa playing Toth. His trusted servants, you know, but basically cloning himself, that also could be seen as that type of energy, cloning himself or creating a bunch of different versions of himself to do his work because he don't trust nobody else doing it for him. And that kind of also sparked the energy of like, if he only trusts himself. So like basically these time travel stories, like where it's time travel and it's Jehudi, and it's Jehudi on Jehudi, like, but basically, uh, time traveling to these different moments, doing all this work, by himself because he's not trusting the other aspects of, self. So it's like, all right, I gotta be here, I gotta be there, I gotta, you know what I'm saying? But basically, time traveling, quote unquote time traveling, but again, like tapping into uh, a different quote unquote timeline or aspect of self, more so different quote unquote timeline, but to maintain control, to fix things or change things. Because again, it's like, all right, oh man, I remember I did this on that dimension when I was that dimension where I'm actually 5 years old, I changed this. I need to go back and change that, you know. And instead of going to send somebody else for that, it's like, oh no, I'm gonna do that myself. So and hence him kind of showing up to himself on different timelines and the whole archetype of the again the Doctor Strange jumping timelines, fighting with himself, the movie, the one different timelines, fighting with self, or I mean, in some cases a fight, sometimes working together. But again, Loki, you know, and that's the transmutation of that energy again, like all those aspects integrating and working in harmony. All those aspects of Toth, all those little different dimensions and all our little multiple aspects of Jehudis, having them integrate. You know what I'm saying? And integration meaning working in harmony. It doesn't mean that we take Mars energy, Saturn energy, Jupiter energy, and all that, try to blend it into one thing. It's like, no, you take those individual parts or pieces and you manage them to work in harmony. You manage them to operate in harmony, you know. Again, and direct correlation and it's so fire that, I use some of these notions before making it all full circle because when I was talking about the organs, back then I didn't necessarily draw the connection or knew the connection to the archons. Cause or wasn't it wasn't really like hitting, cause you got the information in your face and you seeing that all right, your stomach is connected to the moon or this and that. But like I wasn't, like it didn't hit fully, until you kind of get like all the different little pieces and then it refines and becomes a little stronger and a little more detailed, you know. And the moon appearance. And as I'm closing before moving to the next space again, like this not because I know, again, it's people who, like, man, I love being outside. I love nights with a full moon or this and that, again, uh being, in the experience in this body, it comes with us, like, and again, the moment we decide to embrace the fact that we are source on the human experience, source means the source, not the reflection of sources, or like not, it's like source. So if I, embrace that notion, then automatically, that means that everything created by source, in essence, like everything of source and created by, like that's also embodiment, because I'm acknowledging that I'm source in the human experience. So I acknowledge that, all the different aspects of source is, is me as well and within me. But again, like as far as to temperament that, you know, hence being in again, the human body and the human body not being able to take all of that, our intense power all at once, we got to learn how to manage our energy. You know what I'm saying? It's funny because Earth could also be looked at as a school for like money management, energetic management, like how you manage your energy, and hence again like the whole connection with the karmic debts and and the Pisces and Saturn energy, where Pisces dealing with uh in essence like our you could say karmic debts and like our ancestral debts or ancestral connection, like with our grandparents and all that, like what they passed on to us in essence, which to some extent, it's the karmic debts. Cause like I right here, it's now your turn to transmute this energy or whatever the case may be. But, but yeah, that's basically it. And let's see, I think they said a little more in this. He's wearing yellow and green. It's mostly green and black in Santeria that's connected to Ogun. Like I think yellow and orange is connected to I want to say Arunla. And Arunla is connected to divination though. And then the yellow energy connected to the Oshun, but the yellow green kind of is also kind of like a Venus, Freya type of energy. All right. I'll stop it there because yeah, it's taking we all other videos are slowing pretty well and this one's slowing down. But anyway, but we gonna close it out right there. And just understanding again, like the connections of what we dealing with in this realm, like, what's what, because as the veil lifting and that's one thing too, the veil is lifting and the importance of us, like again, like making sure we on point, and building a solid foundation, also having awareness of our future. Because if in this now moment, if you can't see a future for yourself, then quite literally, like, you know, not fear monger, but that's it is what it is, like you want to be able to see a future for yourself in this now moment, you know. So do whatever spiritual practices, be around the people, places, and things that support you, being present and knowing what your future holds. You know what I'm saying? Now, yes, when we talk about like surrender to the unknown, that that's more so from the perspective of you don't know how it's gonna play out. I want to say that like important emphasis. Like it don't mean like, oh, I'm just floating. I don't know what's gonna happen to me. I don't know my future. I'm just so like nah. I don't went through that from experience, so I know about that from experience, not just reading psychology books about it. I actually kind of been through that shit a little bit, you know. But yeah, it's like not the extreme, you know, floaty energy or like, like the unknown, like to that extent. Is like the how it will unfold and manifest is unknown, you know. Like, all right, you know, you you align like your intuition and even you like you love to be in Florida. You could sense your intuition, guiding you to Florida. You feel me? Dang, where I was going with that. Oh, was talking about intuition, guidance. I'll leave it alone. But I just was talking about again, just being on point. Right now, as the veil is continuously getting thinner. Again, look at just the irony and paradox of like, a video like I just done. It's like, you know, quite literally like, with the fact that I embody, you know, some of the Jehudi, HePHAEstus, archetype. And me doing this video exposing this is like me exposing me. You feel me? Like, like quite literally on multiple different levels. I just exposed myself. But I expose myself because I want to be aware of myself. Because think about it, your spiritual growth started with you calling out your toxic shit and saying, like, all right, like I toxically like to hide secrets that people need to know about. Let's just say, like, that might be a thing that some beings or a group of beings might be dealing with. You know, it's like that energy. And see, that's how I know that was on point because it's like as soon as I said that, it was almost like, but anyway, but just tapping in though, again, making sure you're on point. And I know I'm gonna get back to whatever that was coming up because I know it was saucy, but I was saying something about people having to heal from like trying to like hide information or something like that. But we're gonna leave it there. Again, just all different understandings of self. Feel me? As the came across that, checking out some of my clips and putting certain videos together and making things even more and more refined. And I was looking at one of the videos again, just to reminding myself of like, dang, like it was always on point. Cause of course, like I had moments of like, and it became obviously, like of like questioning, like, is this for sure? Like, and again, more so though, I feel like you question yourself, like hence why you either gotta be super, super clear and on point, and hence why like some people might like, lean towards the breatharian thing. Cause I keep it real when I was eating super, super light, and eating super, super healthy, like it just clicked. Like even if something, like no matter how much, like things are just like clicking, more quickly, on certain levels. But yeah, understanding these different levels and aspects of self, and again, now we see and have more understanding for sure established on the channel, on this channel, connecting the awareness of the moon, its connection with the arc, the archons, and all the other different, little things that we could connect to that. Because again, man, you could talk about all these different things, like, for forever and ever. Never ending story. Just one more. All right, we're in this part. AE in words, you know, especially when it's expressed like and I don't even think my thing won't even allow for me to type it the way I'm trying to spell it. But AE, like in the word Aesir, but AE, on the etymology level is connected to, the spirit, the breath, and that's also in the middle of again HePHAEstus name. But yeah, we're gonna leave it at that. We're gonna keep it, man. But Now is the vibrate. And I trust that y'all will continue to stay present continuously, understand yourself more and more and not get caught up in all the distractions. You got the uh you know Trump getting shot at. Matter of fact, like one of my partners was telling me, he was like, man, I was talking with my son, and he was like, even my son was like, like, man, daddy, that looks staged. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I'm saying? Like his son was like, man, what I'm saying? Like that whole little Trump shooting thing looked like, you know, like some bad acting, basically, you know. And again, it's like, and I could also feel like the little vibe of the look uh slow vid, you know, 19, that little energy pop. I could feel that, about to come into the mix. And again, though, what always reminds me to stay on point is like if somebody's trying that hard to stop me from knowing who I am and being who I be, then I must really be something very valuable. So let me get on my shit. Like let me make sure that I'm, what I'm saying? Cause, you know, and not in the sense of like, oh, I'm becoming aware of myself to battle with them because they're trying to hide it from me. Not, you don't want that to be the root, from that perspective. Of course you want it, for the purity of like again, like understanding yourself as a being, but again, it it comes with it. But of course, still, although I provided references and shared this, you gotta do your own research, and again, tapping in with the dreams, the astral plane, because in essence, that's where it's really at, you know, regardless. And again, not judging, our brethren and sister if they do uh no matter whether they love it here, attach here, whatever the case, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, because that's one thing I think of, and I kind of go pivot from that. Uh, this realm being like I think about what it is, Inception, in the movie Inception when he was showing the girl about like how to operate in other people's dreams or in other people's subconscious, and he showed her or told her about the part like when she does certain things and she changes up things too much, the aspects of the person's subconscious starts to recognize that and be like, all right, what's going on, and to some extent I also like equate that to being on earth. And no matter what's our closest origins, again, like all, like it all comes from one source, but then have like different little origins within the individual experience. But uh I always start on tangents and then just fall completely off of it just to remind me to, keep it simple. Now's a vibrate, y'all, man. Much love. Again, take care of yourself. Do whatever it is that you need to do to stay on point in connection with what I got going on. Again, just tap in with the YouTube channel. Got the website, uh, epiclifestyles.live, Instagram, Universal Frequencies One, and in any and all donations greatly appreciated. The donation links are underneath most of all of the videos that I do. Again, a penny, anything, work wonders. Again, that could go as rent for the website, and other things, sustenance, and going back into getting things, like got a microphone. Gotta I could talk like this, but it's all greatly appreciated. But stay on point, take care of yourself, to the highest degree. You ain't gotta try to save nobody before you take care of yourself, and don't let nobody peer pressure you into sacrificing your health to save others. Because I'm definitely not asking you to do that for me. Take care of yourself. Because ultimately, you're not gonna save me anyway. So take care of yourself. And not in the selfish sense of like, oh, I'm just out for me, me. Like, nah, we connecting with, again, understand ourselves to the fullest, and then that allows for us to connect with the community because that's also becoming a thing and pretty strong and necessary, like connecting with, your community and the people, the familiars who you trust and vibe with. So that's very key, very important right now. Now is the vibrate, not too far in the future, not too far in the past, right now. Peace. I wasn't on the screen for most of that anyway, so let's see.